Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to URKG. This is your latest Real Madrid news and Real Madrid transfer news. Look, Real Madrid's midfield situation might just be changing again. I mean, after missing out on Rodri, a familiar Spanish midfielder is suddenly back in the conversation. I'm sure everybody in the chat knows who we are talking about. But for Madrid to make another major move, someone in the squad may have to leave first. We'll talk about that. And that's pretty much where things actually get interesting, because reports are now saying 3 Real Madrid players, not 1, not 2, but 3 Real Madrid players who could be pushed towards the exit, including Eduardo Camavinga. And Manchester United reportedly are paying attention. We'll discuss that, of course. And we also need to talk about Jude Bellingham. Reports are coming out about Jude Bellingham and José Mourinho, how Mourinho apparently has a very specific plan for him this season. And if he actually commits to this system, we could see the version of Jude Bellingham that absolutely exploded during his first year at Real Madrid. And also during the World Cup as well. There's a lot to discuss, people, a lot to discuss. As always, I'm excited. Look, I'm excited for today's game. Of course, we have a game later on today, so I'm waiting to see what's going to happen in that match. I'm excited for that one, but big up to every single one of you. We got a lot to cover today. We got a lot to cover. Big up to Business Idea, Cristiano, F, Proflam, Precious, who else we have in the chat? Abood is in the building. Thank you all so much for joining in. As always, smash a like on the stream, subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel, closing in on 120. But this is the news. This is the first news I want to get into. Zubimendi, man like Zubimendi. The Mirror is reporting that Real Madrid plot a shocking Martín Zubimendi transfer as Arsenal left with dilemma. This is good. This is really, really good, right? There's another. It's not just this one, by the way. It's not just this one. I know we can't really trust big time in terms of, how the Mirror is. Is it reliable? Is it not reliable? Also, Goals is also posting this, right? After missing out on Rodri deal, Real Madrid considered Premier League star. And I read through this article, and it says here, José Mourinho wants a midfielder. That request has been pushed to Florentino Perez towards a familiar name. Arsenal's Zubimendi is the guy, according to the newspaper Sports. Again, Sports is a big newspaper. It is a big newspaper, right? Several English press reports suggest that Arsenal signing of Brazilian Bruno Guimaraes could squeeze Zubimendi out of the picture next season, and the London club then won't rule out letting Zubimendi go. Look, this is exactly what we want to see. This is an exciting news, chat. It's absolutely an exciting news. This is what we've been seeing. I mean, they keep telling us Madrid is done with the transfer. Madrid is back on the transfer market looking for a midfielder. Oh, Madrid is done. Madrid is back. We have to report the news. We have to report the news every single day that comes out. But they're just pushing us up and down at this moment in time. But I have a lot to discuss in regards to Zubimendi. What do you guys think about this deal, of course? Let me know. We're running a poll right now. Would you sell Camavinga to make room for Zubimendi? Yes or no? Or only for 100 M's? Get your votes in the poll. Aiden, big up yourself. Big up yourself. Jamil as well, big up to yourself. But this is what I wanted to discuss about Zubimendi, of course. We talked about how he's going to help out Real Madrid, how he's going to be the alternatives for the missing out on the Rodri deal. But I want to talk to you today a little bit different. I want to actually talk to you today from the Arsenal angle, because Arsenal reportedly now, not reportedly, but they're bringing in Bruno Guimaraes, definitely is going to create a problem for Zubimendi. Why would Arsenal? I'm going to ask the chat right now, and I want you to answer. Any Arsenal fans in the chat or whatever you think, I want you to answer this, right? I want you to answer this question. Why would Arsenal spend heavily on Bruno Guimaraes if Zubimendi is untouchable? Have you thought about that? If Zubimendi is untouchable, why would Arsenal spend that much money on Bruno Guimaraes? Let me know. And also, can Bruno Guimaraes plus Zubimendi coexist every week? Can that happen? Is there a scenario that Zubimendi and Bruno Guimaraes can coexist? Yes, you can tell me there's a scenario, but what about Declan Rice? What's going to happen to Declan Rice? So are you telling me Arsenal's planning to play with three defensive midfielders? I don't think so. I don't think so. Which opens the gap, right? Which just gives us the opportunity to smell blood, to smell something that there is a deal that could be done here for Real Madrid. If we are really pushing forward, we could definitely get Zubimendi. Arsenal cannot keep him. Not to mention, right, he already lost his spot towards the end of the season. Without Bruno Guimaraes being there, he lost the spot, right? He did not start the Champions League final. We discussed that last time on the show. Luis Skelly took his spot. Apparently Luis Skelly is also, yesterday they were saying he might leave. If Luis Skelly had left Arsenal, I would say getting Zubimendi is pretty much impossible. It's going to be impossible. But the fact that Luis Skelly is staying, the same dude, the 19 or 20 years old dude, a left back who took your position in the Champions League final. On top of that now, Bruno Guimaraes is coming. How the hell is Zubimendi getting minutes? How is he getting minutes? Is he that kind of player? I mean, this is a question for him as well, right? This is a big question for him because if he thinks he's big enough, if he thinks that he's one of the best midfielders, I recommend him to leave. Why would he sit on the bench for Luis Skelly at Arsenal? Or is he going to be given the Copa, the Carabao Cup games? Is he going to be playing FA Cups now? He's not going to be playing Champions League and the Premier League. That's going to be the case, Chad. That is going to be the case. Let me go through some of the comments there. Now, I'm not done. KG, remember last season Super Cup final, Tottenham bottled it. Look, let's focus on this one. We're going to discuss that later. The other one says, does Manchester United need Camavinga? That's the next topic I want to discuss. We'll discuss that in a moment. What if we sell Camavinga? If we sell Camavinga, obviously we can get Zubimendi hands down. Hands down, we can get him. Hands down, we can get him. Who voted to stay Camavinga really since the leave? It's a good point. I mean, look, some of you guys right now, we got close to 100 votes, and 17% is telling me keep Camavinga. 17% is saying keep Camavinga, which is crazy, which is absolutely crazy, right? But when you think about the situation, there's a lot of reasons why Arsenal could sell this. Let me give you 3 reasons. Arsenal may need money for another position, okay? That's reason number 1 to sell for Arsenal. Reason number 2, Arsenal has been searching for the left wing position, which is why they spent so much time and energy trying to sign Vinicius Jr. They know that on the left-hand side, Martinelli's dead and Trossard is left, apparently. So they need somebody on the left-hand side. They can't just rely on Martinelli on the left next year. So if they want to fund, if they need budget, if they need more money to invest on the left wing, they need to compromise other positions. They need to sell some players. That's why there was a lot of rumors about Luis Skelly leaving, right? And a whole another Arsenal fans were just nuts. They were nuts. He came from the bottom. They want Luis Skelly to stay. So now it begs the question, is Zubimendi the guy that is going to be leaving to make room for Arsenal to sign a left back? That's reason number 2, right? And then selling a valuable midfielder could definitely help them finance other deals as well. Not just the left wing, but any position they want to strengthen, whether that's going to be on the right wing or number 10 or a striker, they can fill those out. And I feel like this is something they're definitely going to entertain, in my opinion. And we do have a chance. We do have a solid chance. Zubimendi for Real Madrid, think about it. I mean, 60-ish, is it reasonable for Zubimendi? Is he too expensive? If he's at 60 to 70 M's, if Madrid is willing to spend that kind of money? Or is it better to trust Camavinga or Tchouaméni? Look, let me know. What if we don't get a midfielder, we sell Camavinga, KG? If we sell Camavinga and we don't get a midfielder, that's basically making us weaker. We don't want to become weaker. We want to be stronger, right? That's the idea. That is the idea. Pedro says Arsenal purchased Bruno Guimaraes because Zubimendi will be sold. That's exactly my point, Pedro. Pedro, are you an Arsenal fan? That's what I've been telling the chat. Yes, we are going to stream the Madrid game later on today. Jamil says, KG Madrid's first trophy is today. Look. I'm not excited about a trophy, but I'm excited about the game. We're gonna absolutely discuss that at the end. We're gonna discuss that at the end. What if we sell Camavinga? And I think I read that one already. Call me crazy, but I believe Zubimendi will be sold to buy Julian Alvarez. Again, another target that Arsenal looking at. Arsenal might be trying to get Julian Alvarez because Atletico Madrid don't want to sell to Barcelona, and Julian Alvarez wants to leave, and obviously he wants to join Barcelona. But if there is no alternatives for him, I think he might push through to Arsenal. Maybe, who knows? But my point is, it goes back to Zubimendi, right? It goes back to Zubimendi. Would you sign Zubimendi if it meant selling Camavinga? Yes or no? I want everybody to spam yes or no. Would you sell Camavinga if you know for sure you're going to get Zubimendi? I'm sure a lot of you would say yes. I'm sure a lot of you would say yes. Mike says Arsenal fought tooth and nail with Liverpool to get Zubimendi, and he played him over 4,000 minutes. If you think he's going to sell him, you are dreaming. Look, I'm not dreaming. Why the hell did you sign Bruno Gimenez then? Answer that question for me. Answer that question for me. And why are you playing Luis Skelly in the middle of the park and putting Zubimendi in the Champions League final on the bench? Why don't you answer that question? It doesn't make sense, right? A lot of people are saying yes. Karim says Valverde and Zubimendi remind me of Xavi and Khedira. Who would be the Xavi though? Valverde is not Xavi. Maybe Valverde is not Xavi. No, says Cristiano. So Cristiano's the only one that is saying no. Everybody's saying yes. Yes, I think I would definitely let Camavinga go. I would definitely let Camavinga go if it meant that we're going to sign Zubimendi. Absolutely. I would, absolutely. Right, let's move on though. Let's move on. This is the report, right? In order for us to get Zubimendi, one thing has to be certain, and that is out of the three, one of them has to leave. One of them has to leave. And reports are coming out today in regards to this, of course. There are reports coming out. 3 players Real Madrid hope to sell before the end of the summer. And pretty much, I don't want to read the whole thing. Pretty much it says this. Both club and manager are hopeful of finding new homes for the trio of stars over the week ahead, as per reported by ASA. These are the 3 names that are on the list, right? Raúl Asencio, Camavinga, and Ferland Mendy. We've been begging, chat. We've been absolutely begging that these 3 have to leave. These 3 have to leave. We signed 6 players, right? Dumfries came in, Kanate came in, Cucurella came in, Bernardo Silva came in, Yan Diomande, and SP. And obviously, Mourinho apparently likes the reinforcement. The reinforcement is good. But now, the squad, they feel like the squad is a little bit too big. And I'm going to talk about these 3 players. Raúl Asencio. We can start with Raúl Asencio. I mean, probably the easiest of the 3 that should be exiting. I think Raúl Asencio has to leave. Madrid have added defensive competition already. I would rather see Raúl Asencio leave and get us somebody that is like, Bastoni, right? We already filled in Kanate. Kanate is coming in already. Militao's in training. Hopefully he can stay fit. We can't really rely on him. But Asencio would be the target. How many minutes do you actually think Asencio realistically is going to get this season? I don't see Asencio getting a lot of minutes. I mean, the 2 kids that are playing in preseason might probably be better than Asencio, in my opinion. That's how much I don't like Asencio. Asencio, I think Madrid should sell him. I think Real Madrid should definitely sell Asencio, in my opinion. Insert a sell-on clause, insert a buyback clause, or insert, matching rights, or whatever the case might be. Insert that 30% that Real Madrid have been doing for Gonzalo Garcia and other deals. Insert that and just get rid of Asencio. That's what I would say. Because Asencio, for me, is a big no-no. Asencio, for me, is the one that should be sacrificed instantly. And I'm not connecting the Asencio deal, or Asencio being sold, to signing a midfielder. I'm connecting Asencio to Bastoni. If there's a chance Madrid is trying to entertain another center-back, Asencio leaves, Bastoni comes in. But this is a massive news coming out, because if we don't sell players, forget about buying players. It's as simple as is. The squad is full enough that forget about Zubimendi, forget about Bastoni, forget about any other signings. Players have to leave first. And Asencio, for me, has to be the number one that needs to leave. Thoughts about Asencio? Do you think he should stay? Do you think he should leave? I'm going to go through the list in the comment sections, and we're going to talk about Mendy in a second. Get rid of Asencio and get Bastoni, says Jake. I agree. AR says, I just finished watching Mourinho's documentary. It was peak. Yes, I didn't get to finish it. But we could talk about that at the end. Adventure, what up? Mendy is always injured. We're going to talk about Mendy in a second. PK says, you haven't missed a lot. We talked about Zubimendi, of course. You could go back and watch it as soon as we're done, right? I'm going to put chapters in. Camavinga is always lost in the midfield, says Pedro. Proflan says Asencio should stay. Wow. Are there anybody in the chat right now saying Asencio should stay? Have you watched Real Madrid the past 2 years? I don't know. Owa says get rid of Camavinga. We sort of discussed Camavinga, right? But we're going to discuss Camavinga. There's reports that Manchester United are interested, so we're going to cover that in a second. Just bear with me. Mike says Bruno's rotated for Rice. Zubi got benched toward the end of the season because Arteta ran him to the ground and he lost his legs, not because Skelly is better than him. Interesting thought. I mean, I can't counteract that because I don't watch Arsenal week in, week out. But what I have seen is that he was benched. If you're saying his legs ran out, it might be an excuse, but you might be right. We're going to talk about Locatelli at the end. But that's my point. That's my point number one. So the second player that we're talking about is, of course, Mendy, right? Mendy is the second player that is mentioned on this list right here. It's Camavinga, but let's focus on Mendy, right? Ferland Mendy is another dude that is being mentioned that he should be sold. We know Cucurella's arrival completely changes his situation, right? Madrid now have established center back, Cucurella and Carreras. So here's Mendy's biggest issues, right? Availability, injuries, reliability over an entire season. This brother can't stay fit. We've discussed that million times. He is never available. When Mendy is available, he's one of the best defenders or one of the best left backs. I can tell you that much. I like him as a left back if he stays fit. But again, it's a big if, right? This guy never stays fit. He never does. He's never available. He plays a couple of games. He's out for a week or two. He plays one game. He's out for a month or two. So that has been the consistent story about Mendy. And yet again, this guy is also injured at this moment in time, he's also injured. So we can't even get him. We can't even sell him. We can't even sell him now. It's becoming really difficult. Who's coming in for Mendy, knowing that Mendy's going to be unfit for the majority of the season? Whatever league you're playing. He's not even playing in the most intense league in the world. He's playing in La Liga. La Liga is more easier than the Premier League. Imagine this guy playing in the Prem. He's going to get injured even more frequently than the one he's getting injured in La Liga. So for me, Mendy has to leave. If it means ripping off his contract, that's what we need to do. But I think Florentino Perez has to make a massive decision. Just take your loss. Sometimes you have to accept your loss. It's better to accept your loss than let you fall. Let you lose money consistently. You don't want to do that. If you know about stocks, if you know a stock that is going down, and if you know that business is going down, it's never going to recover, you sell that stock. You don't keep that investment. You don't keep the same investment knowing that it's failing. Like, you're seeing it decline. You're absolutely seeing it decline. You're seeing it fall down. It's like keeping that investment. It just doesn't make any sense, right? Florentino Perez has to understand his investment on Mendy is going down. Like, it is going down. So it's just getting worse and worse and worse. The older he gets, the more difficult it becomes to get rid of him. So for me, rip off the contract and sign somebody else. That's what I would say. Is he going to do it? Is he not going to do it? I don't know. But would you rather keep Mendy as a Cucurella backup or cash in now? Yes or no? Let me know. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think, because I want to go through your comments in a second, and then we're going to move on to the Camavinga news. Camavinga could be leaving, right? Camavinga could be leaving, and Manchester United are interested. We're going to discuss that next. Guys, do you think Zubimendi could become the next Xavi under Mourinho? I think so, Kareem. I think so. It is possible. Mendy over Carreras, that is a hot take. It has to be a hot take. Pedro says, call me nuts. I would get rid of Carreras and Mendy and one defender and null in attack. Carreras attack, but sucks at defending. You're right. Carreras also sucks, by the way, even though we spent money on him last summer. Honestly, I'm down to keeping Camavinga as a sub. If we can sign Zubi by getting rid of Mendy and Bastoni, by selling Asencio. Interesting thought. So you want to keep Camavinga. So there's no way you can get Bastoni and Zubi if you're keeping Camavinga, and if you're only selling Mendy and Asencio. I think that's not going to be enough. There's no buyer for these players, first of all. That's what we need to understand. Like, people need to understand. There are no buyers out there for these guys. If there were, Madrid is interested in selling these guys. Madrid has made it absolutely clear, consistently coming out and saying, we could sell Asencio, we could sell Mendy, we could sell Camavinga. But all these three players, unfortunately, they don't want to leave. They want to stay. So you have another option, ripping off the contract. I don't know how much is going to cost them. I know you can't rip off Camavinga because you could easily get 50 to 60 M's from him. But for Mendy and Asencio, I don't think we can get a lot by even selling them. So Mourinho and Florentino Perez has got a massive decision to make, bro. Massive decision to make. But I got to move on to the next topic, right? I got to move on to the next topic, which is the biggest topic today. Of course, this is coming out. The Athletic, it's a reliable source, chat. We're not making stories up. It's a reliable source. Manchester United have now shown interest in Camavinga because they are looking for a player who can play in midfield and a left back. And look, United are back in for Camavinga. United have been flirting. They have absolutely been flirting with Camavinga. They've been flirting with Camavinga ever since, ever since the transfer window started. United have been flirting with Camavinga, Camavinga. They haven't made a bid yet. Madrid have made it clear that Tchouaméni is not for sale. But Madrid has not made it clear that Camavinga is not for sale. They did not say that. You see what I'm saying? So for me, it's up to Camavinga, right? Manchester United are interested in buying Camavinga, and Madrid is interested in letting Camavinga go so they can add another midfielder. Now it all makes sense, right? It all makes sense. I think Camavinga should leave. I think the midfield is crowded, and I think Camavinga, it's about time Camavinga leaves. From Madrid's perspective, I mean, we do have already players in that department. He doesn't give us what Zubi can give us. He doesn't give us what Rodri can give us. We already have Bernardo Silva, Tchouaméni, Valverde, and Bellingham in that position that could easily fill in that position. So Thiago Patage is another one. It looks like he's also going to be staying. So for me, getting rid of Camavinga makes sense. Manchester United, look, from Manchester United perspective, I'll talk to you. But from Real Madrid perspective, it connects all the dot. If Madrid seriously wants Zubimendi, and every squad space has been occupied, Camavinga could potentially become the player whose departure could finance and open a door for Real Madrid to get Zubimendi seriously. You understand what I'm saying? That's from Real Madrid perspective, right? Obviously, if Camavinga stays fit, he could give you a lot. Athleticism, he can carry the ball, he's press resistant, tackling is good, recovery speed is good, positional versatility. I mean, he's also can play as a left back, which is the reason why Manchester United are interested. Manchester United were interested in Luis Kelly because he could play in the middle of the park. He could also play as a left back. Guess what? Camavinga could play as a left back. He could also play in the middle of the park. So it fits both sides. It fits Real Madrid's interest. It also satisfies Manchester United's interest. Is Manchester United willing to gamble on Camavinga? It's up to Manchester United. It's a huge gamble. You're gambling basically saying that he's going to stay fit. If Camavinga stays fit, he's one of the best. I'm telling you. 2 years ago, Camavinga was unplayable. He was outstanding. He was magnificent. He was incredible. He played the 2022 World Cup final. He started that game, if I'm not mistaken. So Camavinga was that good, bro. He was that good in 2022 World Cup, but that was a long time ago, right? In the last World Cup, he wasn't even picked. In the last season, he cost us against Bayern Munich, getting sent off for a silly yellow card. But what I'm trying to say is, if you put your trust on Camavinga, if Manchester United are going to make an offer, obviously Madrid is going to entertain it. But the biggest question remains, is Camavinga going to entertain it? Is he going to accept it? Is he be willing to go? That's the question we have. That is the biggest question that we have. But I want to ask the chat, would you really sacrifice Camavinga to get Zubimendi? Yes or no? I want to see it. All right, we're going to go through some of the comments here. I wouldn't mind Stilla as well, says Pedro. Javier says it's not even up to United. It's up to Camavinga if he wants to leave. Facts. Exactly what I talked about. Camavinga is making us lose on and off the pitch, says CSRF. We have this magnets. We have this parasites. They just don't want to leave, bro. They don't want to leave the club. And that is really pissing me off. It's really pissing me off. Jonas says yes. Saidi says Real Madrid have to sign Zubimendi or Tonali. Tonali's gone already. We can't. Tonali just joined Tottenham. You're not getting Tonali. Forget about that. Yes, yes. Everybody saying yes. Everybody saying yes. Thiago will take the minute left behind by Camavinga. Thiago's not going to be playing every game, bro. Camavinga is better than Thiago Patage. That's a fact. Money, money, money. Money, says the Otto one. You're talking about money for United or money for Real Madrid? Which one is it? Kareem says Zubimendi or Stella. Zubimendi. Pedro says Tonali. Yeah. Tonali is gone already. Javier says, are we forcing him out? We're trying to force him out. The Athletic has reported that Camavinga's ability to cover both the position, the left back position and the midfield position, is making Manchester United really, really interested, right? They are really, really interested. And it is realistic that Camavinga can leave. It's up to Camavinga now. It's up to Mourinho. If I'm Mourinho, good morning, Christian. If I am Mourinho, to push Camavinga out, I might just tell him, bro, you're not going to get a lot of minutes. You won't be getting a lot of minutes. So if I were you, if you want your career to grow, if you want to be bigger, if you want to improve, just go to another club that is going to play you every week. You can't stay here because we have this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy. I think if Mourinho says that to him, if Mourinho tells him that he is not part of his plan, then Camavinga all of a sudden is going to consider moving out. But if Mourinho is saying, yo, I like you, I want to use you, then Camavinga is going to say, I'm staying. You understand? So that's what my confusion is. Like, Mourinho has got to push now. He's got to push. If he wants Zubimendi, if he wants somebody like Rodri, this is the opportunity. This is the time. Tell Camavinga you're not interested in keeping him. Then if that happens, then all of a sudden Camavinga is moving out and going to Real Madrid makes sense. I mean, going to Manchester United is going to be realistic. Because right now it's just rumors. It's just rumors. I meant the reason why Camavinga won't leave is because of money. Look, Man United has got money. Manchester United can match his salary. I don't think it's because of money. Camavinga is not staying because of money. He's worried that he's going to flop somewhere else. That's the reason. I think Mourinho wants Zubimendi. We already talked about that. Mourinho definitely wants Zubimendi. That's the first part of the show that we covered. But the only reason Zubimendi could join us is if somebody leaves. And which begs the question now, which connects the story to Camavinga. I'm putting all the story connected. I'm sure you try to pick, you can picture it now. Camavinga has to leave in order for us to sign Zubimendi, right? That's the point. We should scout Alex Scott if he wants a good ball and career. I don't know about that. Camavinga is better than Zubi. I absolutely disagree. Some people are okay with sitting on the bench. Look at Vallejo. Bro won everything with us. Sitting on the bench, right? Sitting on the bench, you won all of that. Yeah. The problem with the player once you make is at the top of the team. You don't want to leave unless you're making more money or guaranteed minutes. Interesting point. TSRF says, I bet after the season, no big club could go after Camavinga. So if I was Camavinga, I would leave now. Interesting point again. I agree with that. Camavinga is an amazing player, but he needs more minutes and confidence. As Real Focus says, you need to let go Rodri. Look, I let go of Rodri. I'm not talking about Rodri here. We're talking about Camavinga. We're talking about Camavinga. Forget about Rodri, man. I don't want that injury-prone guy, man. I'm just saying. As a United fan, would you want Camavinga? Yes. I like Manchester United, and I think he could definitely help Manchester United. I honestly do think that he could help Manchester United. I don't see him as a left back. I'll be honest with you. I don't think Camavinga is going to play as a left back, but he can certainly fill in that CDM role. And he's left-footed, by the way. He's left-footed as well. You got Kobe Mainu, right-footed. You got Santos, right-footed. You got Bruno Fernandes, Ugarte. All these guys are right-footed. So a left-footed center mid, Manchester United don't even have. So he's definitely going to complement the team if Camavinga joins Manchester United. So from Manchester United perspective, I think it could be a good gamble. 50 to 60, it's peanuts for Manchester United. I think they should spend that money right now and get Camavinga. That's what I think. And it also helps Real Madrid sell one of the players and bring in another guy that can complement the team. You're following me, right? You're following me. Manchester United doesn't need Camavinga. Bro, are you looking at the news we're talking about? Are you looking at the news that everybody's covering in regards to Camavinga? Manchester United are interested in Camavinga. I just read that out, right? I just read that out. The Athletic, this is a reliable source, bro. Manchester United have expressed interest in Real Madrid's Eduardo Camavinga. United are looking for a player capable of operating both midfield and left back. I read that. I read that already. So if you haven't seen that, this ain't fake, bro. This is real. This is the reality right now. So United are interested in Camavinga. So now the question we all discussed up until now is whether Camavinga wants to leave or not. It's highly, highly debatable, but I hope he leaves. I hope he leaves. What number? Let me ask you. What number makes you even answer the phone call for Camavinga, right? How much would you be willing to sell? 60, 70, 80? Let me know. Or is he not for sale? Not for sale. How many people say Camavinga is not for sale? I want to keep him. Because for me, like, if Mourinho doesn't consider Camavinga essential, he's got to let him know. And we've got to go out and get somebody else. We've got to go out on somebody else. 60, 40, 60, 90 is ludicrous. It's ludicrous. It's not going to happen. 60 to 70 makes sense. 40 is possible as well. If we are desperate, Zubi is closer to Rodri, but still is closer to Kroos. That's a good point. 50 to 70, says Pedro. I'm absolutely with you. By the way, let's get to 100 likes, chat. Big up to every single one of you. Smash a like on your way in. Get those likes up. Big up to every single one of you. If you're just tuning in, we're having a discussion. Would you keep Camavinga around with it or not? And would you sell him? And if so, if you sell Camavinga, who would you bring in? And yeah, just get involved in the conversation. 50. The honor one says not for sale. Happy birthday, Cristiano. Happy birthday. Yeah, so around 50 to 60 makes sense. Makes absolute sense. I think it makes a lot of sense for Manchester United to sign him. I already told you how key he's going to be for Manchester United. Left back, center mid. He could be also operating in all other different positions as well. As a holding 3, he can operate. As a holding 2, he can operate. And sometimes as a winger as well, he can operate. So he could cover a lot of positions, including goalkeeper. I mean, we've seen Camavinga cover a whole different positions around Madrid, except the goalkeeper. So he also played as a center back. There's one time that he played as a center back, as a left center back. He played. So this guy could play anywhere. He could play anywhere. So it would be a huge plus from Manchester United perspective. It is also a win-win from Real Madrid perspective. So I think this needs to happen. This definitely needs to happen, bro. I want this to happen so much. For both teams, I want this to happen. He's a Barcelona agent, says Chris. Karim says, if Zubi doesn't want to leave, do we get Stella? Zubi wants to leave, bro. I just told you. Zubi wants to leave. It's up to Real Madrid to make an offer. Arsenal wants to sell Zubimendi as well. I've read the article already for you guys at the start of the show. If you missed it, you could go back and see it, right? So Arsenal are willing to sell Zubimendi. Also, Zubimendi is okay leaving. He's not going to decline or not join Real Madrid. What kind of player is going to deny and not join Real Madrid? I mean, Rodri did it, of course, because he had Barcelona connection, but most players would definitely not even think. They won't even blink. They would just say yes. When Real Madrid call you, you just say yes. You don't dilly-dally. You don't dilly-dally. What upgrade, dude? You guys crazy if you sell a player who can play a few positions on the pitch, won't cry if he sits on the bench, and will fight for a spot. Kama is not even that bad in preseason. So it's good. Look, if you're making your decision, if you're making your thoughts and processes based on the preseason, I can't help you. I cannot help you. If you haven't watched Real Madrid last year, I cannot help you, bro. I can't. We should have gotten Zubi at Real Madrid. Real Sociedad now is overpaying, says Javier. We could have been. Back then, Xabi Alonso definitely wanted Zubimendi when he was at Real Sociedad. But Florentino Perez, as you know, just did not go in hard. He didn't really go in hard to facilitate that move. And that's the way we lost him to Arsenal. But he actually wanted to stay in Spain. He actually wanted to join Real Madrid. But Real Madrid didn't really make the offer. So he joined Arsenal. So now there's an opportunity we can entertain that conversation again, right? We're going to move on to the next topic. We got a lot to cover. Volker says, KG, have you thought of Camavinga playing left forward? I think he would do well if given the chance to play in that position. I don't know if he can play left wing. He can't dribble 1v1. Yes, he can get out of presses. He can get out of tough situations, but I don't think he's got the capability of, of playing in the wing. He can't do that. I don't think he can do that, Chad. I don't think he can do that. But let's move on to the next topic that I want to bring in. Of course, Mourinho's plan. Let me just read this out for you. Jose Mourinho has a clear plan for Jude Bellingham. He plans to play him as a number 10 in a 4-2-3-1 system. I mean, we discussed that already, where Jude Bellingham should play. We discussed that already on this show. I mean, not on this show, but in these shows that we have done recently. He knows that Jude could also play a bit deeper in midfield if needed. So a bit deeper means next to Tchouaméni or next to whoever plays in that CDM, next to Camavinga or Tchouaméni. He's saying that Jude could play in that position. But, there's a big but. He believes that his best role is when he plays closer to the box, which I agree. Similar to 2023 and 2024. That's why we're talking about Jude Bellingham being very, very key for Real Madrid the season before Kylian Mbappe joined. That season, I remember Jude Bellingham was playing as a false, sort of like as a false nine and behind Vinicius Jr. and Rodrigo. And that season, Jude Bellingham was exceptional. He was unplayable that season. Player of the year in La Liga. He was outstanding. The same year, I think we won the Champions League as well. And it was a peak season for Jude Bellingham. But ever since Kylian Mbappe joined, his role has slightly changed. Not slightly, but big time changed. It has changed. He's doing more defensive duties now. Since Kylian Mbappe is not tracking back, Jude Bellingham had to defend and at the same time be the creative force and at the same time score goals and at the same time do all these stuffs in the middle of the park. So he couldn't do that. I'm going to get into the Arda Güler conversation in a moment. Give me a second. What does this mean? Get in the comment sections, by the way. What does this mean? What does this statement mean from Jose Mourinho? Does it mean that Jose Mourinho trusts Jude Bellingham as a 10 more than Arda Güler? Where are you going to play Arda Güler? Let me know in the comments, but I want to focus on Jude now. But what I'm saying is that season he was exceptional, but the moment Kylian Mbappe joined, Jude's roles has significantly changed, right? Mbappe doesn't track back, and Vinicius Jr. looked at Kylian Mbappe. Vinny also sort of stopped tracking back. So it created this huge problem for Real Madrid. When we lose the ball, Jude Bellingham had to be everywhere. He had to cover a lot of different positions. So because of that, he struggled. He never really found his spot. He wasn't scoring goals. He wasn't getting assists. And he was also getting exposed in the middle of the park because there's other two guys that are not tracking back, and it just created this big hole in the middle of the park for Real Madrid. And people started to question, is Jude Bellingham good enough? And I was one of those guys that started to question that, because I said, yo, is Jude Bellingham a one-season wonder? That's what I was asking, because he was struggling. He was struggling with Kylian Mbappe. But now, according to the news, and according to reports, that Mourinho sees him as a key player, as a 10. We're talking about as a 10. So now, I want to ask you this. Does this mean RIP Arda Güler? What is going to happen with Arda Güler? Chat, what is going to happen with Arda Güler? I'm concerned. If you ask me, I like Arda Güler as a 10, then I like Jude Bellingham. Like, I'm okay with Jude Bellingham being there, but I like Arda Güler more than I like Jude Bellingham. I'm just being honest with you. I think Arda Güler gives us the pure 10. Bellingham is not really a pure 10. He's a box-to-box player. But Arda Güler is a pure 10. A 10 that is like Özil, that can create chances after chances after chances after chances. Bellingham is not that. Bellingham is a guy that can create, that can dribble, that could be physical, that could also defend, that could also be, in the sixth position, but he could also go in the box and finish his chances. He makes a lot of runs. He scores these scrappy goals all the time. And he is that guy. So it's up to preference, right? Who would you prefer? Like, do you like Jude Bellingham or do you like Arda Güler? It's a massive discussion that needs to be had. Massive discussion, because this news coming out, I knew we had to talk about it because it's a big problem for Real Madrid and Jose Mourinho. And what's going to happen with Arda Güler? It begs the question. Let me just get into some of the comments here. And look, are we streaming a PSG game? No, we're doing a Real Madrid game later on today. Jose should test Arda as a number 6. I like that idea. Arda or Bellingham? No, I don't like that idea. Jose should test Bellingham as number 6. That should be the statement. Light says, I read that one. Legion says, Jude and Arda will rotate, bro. Depending on the situation, they will rotate around CAM to CM. Arda don't need to play CAM to be creative. He's creative from anywhere. But I think it exposes us, right? It's a good point, but it exposes us to play Arda Güler in the sitting midfielder, because every time we lose the ball, Arda can't defend. So if you're playing in the sitting midfielder position, you need to be able to defend. You need to be able to track back. You need to be able to be physical. Arda Güler is not going to give you that. He's not going to give you that. So I can't see Arda Güler playing in a deeper role. It just can't happen. It can't happen. He has to stay as a 10. He could come back and get the ball, but he still needs another 2 players behind him to protect him. Otherwise, he's going to be exposed. But do I see Jude Bellingham playing in that sitting midfielder position? I do. I honestly do think that Bellingham could operate, especially against small teams. Bellingham could definitely operate against the likes of Getafe, Levante, and all these guys, right? All these teams. He could be the sitting midfielder. Probably, especially now, we don't have Zubimendi, we don't have Rodri. We could play him next to Tchouaméni. So that's the only option we have now at this moment in time. As of today, the team can only do certain things. Bellingham next to Tchouaméni, and then Arda Güler can play as a 10. If Arda Güler is struggling as a 10, push Bellingham upwards, put Camavinga in Bellingham's position. That's something we could do. That's something we could rotate. But I don't think week in, week out, or game in, game out, Arda Güler and Jude Bellingham will accept being rotated. It's like saying Mbappe is okay rotated with Endrick. Do you think Kylian Mbappe is going to be okay rotated with Endrick? One game he plays, the other game he sits on the bench. One game he plays, the other game he sits on. No, he's not. He's not going to accept that, right? He's not going to accept that. Same situation is going to happen with Bellingham and Arda Güler. Both of them are not going to accept that. And for me, it looks like Arda Güler could be sacrificed. Ego-wise, name-wise, who's bigger? Bellingham slightly is bigger than Arda Güler. That is a fact, whether you like it or not. So therefore, Arda Güler, I think, is going to be sacrificed this season. He is going to lose a lot of minutes this season. It's just a prediction. That's not what I want. It's just my prediction. It's just my prediction because there's a big problem with Jude and Arda Güler's position, right? All right, let me go through some of the comments here. Got a lot of comments to go through. Camavinga is generally so stupid. The club and manager doesn't want him, and he is the 6th choice midfielder. Get the hint and leave, says Hint. I've been saying that. I think Arda and Bellingham should be rotated. I read that one already. I just answered that question. We have 60 plus games. Everybody gets enough minutes if we rotate. I hear you. Are these players are going to accept though? Who are you going to play in the big games is also a question. It's an ego stuff, right? Who's going to be playing in big games? Who will be covering the big games? Who will be staying? Who will be sitting on the bench in the big games, right? Who's going to start El Clasico? Who's going to start the game against Man City, Arsenal, or Atletico Madrid? That's the biggest question, right? That's when the problem starts. In these kind of games, you put one of them on the bench. It creates drama. All of a sudden, it creates situations to talk about. All of a sudden, Mourinho could be under pressure if the team loses, especially. So, yeah, it's a good problem to have. At the same time, it is also a problem. Let's not forget. Arda Güler must play as a midfielder, says Jake. Midfielder where? CAM or what? Maguani says they smell blood with Vinny. It went badly. You smell the blood on a 5-year contract player. It would be even harder than Arsenal trying to get Vinny. Arsenal would ask a minimum of 100 M's. Are you talking about Zubimendi? Arda Güler, Bernardo Silva, double pivot. Oh my God, guys. Guys. You can't tell me that you're going to play Arda Güler and Bernardo Silva as a pivot to protect the pack four. You must be out of your mind. You must be out of your mind. I swear to you, you're not going to see that. You're not going to see that. Javier says, Jude false 9. The Benzema role was his best position. I discussed that already, Javier. Jude is our best player. He does everything on the field. I like what Jude does, especially what I saw from England was exceptional. I told you, couple show ago that Güler is what focus. I think Güler needs to improve more. We saw the last season as Cristiano. Depending on what we're playing, if we have a natural 9, then Arda as a 10. If we're playing with a false 9, those two wingers, then Jude. It makes sense. Like you guys overrate Arda like he's something special. He's a bad defensive and he's way too weak. Look, what's his name? I'll tell you this, right? Ozil was not really good at defending, as far as I remember. If you watched Real Madrid back in the days, during the Jose Mourinho era, I'm talking about Jose Mourinho era, Ozil was the 10. Mourinho played a 4-2-3-1 setup. And if I remember correctly, that lineup was the back four is the back four. We don't care about that. The sitting midfielders were Khedira and Xabi Alonso, okay? And then that 3 was Cristiano on the left, Di Maria, and then you had Ozil as a 10. And then you had Karim Benzema or Higuain up top. Most of the time, that's how we played. Okay? So now, if you're asking me, Jude Bellingham is Ozil? No. Arda Güler is Ozil? Yes. So, Jude Bellingham is not Khedira, is not Xabi Alonso. He's also not Ozil. So, that begs the question where Jude Bellingham is going to play. And is Jose Mourinho going to prioritize Jude Bellingham over Arda Güler? It's a massive question. It's a big question. It's a big question that needs to be discussed. Your line Arsenal isn't even at the top 10 spenders in the transfer window. Look, Arda is going to pass over shoot, and then Jude will shoot over the. Look, there's a lot of you who's just saying this. You don't have a chance. This one is even harder than trying to get Vinny over the line. Arteta ain't risking it. In case Rice is injured, Premier League is hard. He will have plenty of minutes, says Munga. Arda is the next Ozil. Bellingham is the next Zidane. Facts. I think Zidane is closer to Jude Bellingham, right, chat? Zidane is closer to Jude Bellingham than Jude Bellingham being closer to Ozil. It just doesn't make any sense. And that combination, that physical presence, all the stuff that we're asking, I don't know. It's a good problem to have. I have to admit, it is a good problem to have for Real Madrid. It's a good problem to have for Jose Mourinho. But it's going to be really interesting to see what he's going to do, right? Really interesting. We're going to go through some of the comments and we're going to wrap up. Jude is playing for England was amazing. Mourinho will figure out how to use him in Real Madrid. But Vinny and Kylian Mbappe must pressure the defenders to help the midfielders, says Pedro. I agree with that. Either Jude or Arda, double pivot, either way. With Silva, it's not going to happen. I mean, you're dreaming. If you think that's going to happen, it's not going to happen. If you think there's going to be a pivot of Bernardo Silva and Arda Güler, forget about it. It would never happen, bro. It would never, ever, ever happen. It's not going to happen. Ozil had a good work rate. So did Di Maria and Benzema and Higuain. Now you got Kylian Mbappe and Vinny. And of course, with Jude fumes on Vinny and Mbappe, I feel him. Yeah, we've seen a lot of incidents, right? We've seen a lot of incidents where Jude Bellingham just lost his shit, lost his mind, looking at Vinicius Jr. losing the ball, not striking back. Same situation with Kylian Mbappe. So Mourinho has to insert that. He's got to insert the fact that these two guys have to work really, really hard for the team this season. That's what I want to see. Something we haven't seen last year, something we have not seen the season before, is that Vinny and Kylian Mbappe not working hard for the team. And I think Mourinho can fix that. I think he can make them work really, really hard. And that is going to make Real Madrid better. I wish we had Ozil instead of Arda. Interesting thought, interesting opinion. Mara says the problem is still Mbappe and Vinny. I think that's going to be resolved. Focus says if we get a left-footed center back, then Güler and Jude could both play with Tchouaméni. Possible. I can see a situation where Tchouaméni would be a sitting midfielder and we line up with a 4-3-3. So you can have Arda Güler on the left, Bellingham on the right. Behind them, there's Tchouaméni. That would be the 3 midfield. And then you go with a front 3, right? You go with Vinny, Diomande, and Kylian Mbappe. It is open. It makes you a little bit open. It puts a lot of effort on Tchouaméni to protect the back four. And it's also going to put a lot of effort on Jude Bellingham to do the same thing. But I can see us doing that. I can see us definitely doing that in certain situations. I don't think we're going to play like that every game. But if, let's say, for example, we're losing a game by 1 goal, 60 minutes, 70 minutes. I can definitely see that happening. So I could definitely see us playing that way, right? Siffy says Arda could rotate with Diomande. We need Tchouaméni with Valverde in a double pivot. Keep Jude as a 10. So that means you're not going to have, yeah. So Arda Güler with Diomande, nah, it's not happening. Arda Güler is not a winger. He's not a winger, so I can't see that happening. I'm sorry. Moses says Arda Güler should play as a passive midfielder, then Jude as a supporting striker. Okay. Bernardo Arda double pivot ain't happening, Javier. If Jose makes Mbappe and Vinny run and work, we are going to cook. If not, we're going to go into the same situation with Xabi Alonso. That is a fact. That is an absolute fact, right? Amin says, if you remember, Jose always had a Portuguese solid team like Pepe and Deco. I think Silva will be his main guy. Silva's not Pepe, though, or Deco. Ozil would have benched. That's a hot take. Ozil would have benched both Jude Bellingham and Arda Güler. Chat, yes or no? Ozil, if he was available now, would he bench both Jude Bellingham and Arda Güler? Yes or no? The thing with Jose Mourinho is that if you dare to not win the ball back, he will slice you in front of the media. He already started criticizing players. In game 1 that Bernardo Silva played, he came out and said Bernardo Silva has not been training. He has not been training. He said that, bro. That was crazy. That was crazy. Lucky, big up for the donor. W's for Lucky. Luck son. Big up. Yeah, he's right. Smash that like, people. Smash that like. We got a game today. I'm excited. Everybody's excited to play this game today. For sure. We all are excited. Not Jude, says Alex. Amin says Ozil was one of a kind. The closest player in the team to him is Arda Güler. Facts. Bro says Bernardo is fat. Yeah. I was saying. I think I got distracted with the chat. But I was saying, Jose Mourinho came out and criticized Bernardo Silva. He said he wasn't ready. I know he just played. He only had one training, but he wasn't good. So he just nailed down. Like, He said, I liked the first half. I did not like the second half. Guess what? Who was on the second half? Bernardo Silva in the middle of the park, losing the ball, not coping with the pressure. So this is what I like about Mourinho, but also this is what this is what scares me about Mourinho. Like, we could go all out and be the best in the world, or we could be in disarray, right? It was a disarray when he left Manchester United. It was a disarray when he left Tottenham. It was a mess when he left Real Madrid. It was a mess when he left Chelsea. It doesn't end well with Jose Mourinho. We all know that. The first year used to be good. Recently hasn't been good, but usually it used to be good the first year. And then the second year is okay. And then by the third year, he gets sacked. Usually by the second year, he gets sacked. Halfway through the season, he gets sacked. That's what happened. So for me, there's a little doubt in me that, yes, the method that Jose Mourinho is using right now, it could be positive for the team. It could be something that the team needs. But at the same time, it also scares me a little bit. It could go sideways. All of a sudden, Kylian Mbappe missing chances. Mourinho coming out and lashing out on Mbappe. Next thing you know, Mbappe and Mourinho having a beef, just like Paul Pogba and Mourinho having a beef. So the story becomes bigger. So every game, the question is going to be about, or every press conference, the question is going to be about that. So this thing could go sideways quickly. Like, I've seen that movie before. I've seen it before. So we really, really got to be cautious in terms of what's going to happen with Mourinho, in terms of what's going to happen with the leaders, with the big players that we have in the team. Get your questions in, and we're going to wrap up, chat. We're going to wrap up. I mean, it's been a good show. It's been a good show. Like I said, if y'all enjoyed this show, if y'all want us to do this every single day, smash that like and subscribe to the channel as well. We need a defender now before a mid. Interesting thought. I highly doubt Man United will buy a CAM from Real Madrid. Why not? They are interested. I covered that story already, right? The Athletic is mentioning that. The United stands, and everybody's talking about it, right? Galera says the squad Jose had was way the squad Jose had way we played didn't manage to win the Champions League was criminal. We lost the Champions League semi-final against Bayern Munich. I think that was one of the worst games I have seen for Real Madrid. That loss on penalties, probably the worst game. Jose Mourinho on his knee, and Cristiano missed a penalty that time. Ramos missed a penalty at that time. Kaká missed a penalty. Sergio Ramos missed a penalty. It was insane, bro. It was insane. To have all the best penalty takers for Real Madrid miss, it was painful. It was painful. If you ask me, probably that would be the worst defeat that I ever had with Real Madrid. Jose will get Mbappe and Vinny to drop back. Hopefully, Karim. Hopefully that can happen. Hopefully, right? Hopefully that can happen. Even Cristiano and Jose clashed when he managed from 2011 to 2013. Exactly. Cristiano, that's a good point. He clashed with Cristiano in the second season. Remember that. Mourinho's that guy. He could easily become toxic. Understand that part. So we really got to be careful. My concern here is about the defensive midfield who will control the ball. Yes, we discussed that, Moses. That's why we're talking about Zubimendi, right? That's exactly what we're talking about. The option right now we have, if we're not signing anybody, is Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva is going to be that guy to control that midfield. Or you could argue Jude Bellingham could do it, but I don't know if Jude Bellingham wants to do that. If you look at Jude Bellingham in England, he didn't really play in the center midfield. He played in front of Elliot Anderson, and there was another guy, Declan Rice. So he didn't really play in a sitting midfielder, Jude Bellingham. That's not his position. So right now, if we're not signing Zubimendi, if we don't have any options, is that the plan? Is that what we're trying to do? We're going to have to wait and see. But we do have a game today, Chad. We do have a game today, which I'm really, really looking forward to see. As I know you're late. King says, it's been a while since I've joined your stream. How you been? Good, bro. Good. Do you think Endrick is going to get minutes, or you think he should leave? Nah, he has to stay, and I think he's going to get minutes. He's going to be a good backup on the right-hand side. He could also play as a center back as well. So I expect Endrick to stay, and he will stay. But bro, we covered a lot, chat. We absolutely covered a lot. I've enjoyed the show. It's been good. And look, tonight or today, later on today, the game we have is what? The game we have right now is going to be at 3 p.m., okay? The game's at 3 p.m. today against Deportivo. Definitely we're going to be doing a watch along for that one. Make sure you join us for that. And yeah, look, a lot of things we discussed today. We talked about the 3 players that should be leaving. We talked about Camavinga potentially joining Manchester United. We also talked about Jude Bellingham's role and what does that mean for Arda Güler. And we also talked about Real Madrid entertaining another situation if Camavinga or if somebody leaves that they could push through to sign Zubimendi. So those are the topics that we've covered. I'm going to put some chapters for you if you missed the show. But big up to every single one of you. I want the chat to answer these questions in the comment sections. Are you Zubimendi in? Yes or no? And also, would you sell Camavinga? How much would Manchester United have to offer to sell Camavinga? And is the number 10 Bellingham, is the number 10 role should be given to Bellingham or Arda Güler? Let me know. And who should be Mourinho's double pivot as things stands right now tonight? Who should it be? Let me know. And also get your predictions in as well. But thank you all so much. Big up to every single one of you. Smash a like on your way out. I'll see you guys on the watch along. Okay? Laters. I'm out. Peace.